Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Dr. Burns' TOEFL Show. Just as Rome was not built in a day, TOEFL success does not happen overnight. It is built daily, bit by bit, and that is how you master academic English. Today's topic is TOEFL Writing, the academic discussion task. I see many TOEFL instructors on YouTube giving incorrect information about this task, which leads students to misunderstand what it means to contribute to the discussion. As a result, many students receive low writing scores. A common mistake is believing that contribution means presenting both sides equally and staying neutral or perfectly balanced. No, that approach usually leads to a middle or even low score. When you try to stay in the middle, your response often loses a clear main point or becomes inconsistent, sometimes even scoring lower because the thesis states one idea while the body supports the opposite. What contributing to the discussion really means is making an argument. This is a skill often taught in philosophy or argumentation courses, which helps explain why many lawyers choose to major in philosophy. These fields train students to take a clear position, support it with logical reasons and examples, identify weaknesses in opposing views, and avoid contradictions. Those are the exact skills required for a high-scoring TOEFL academic discussion response. You must take one clear position, called a thesis, and fully support it with reasons and examples. When your support is strong, clear, and persuasive, you earn a top score. If your response is consistent, you earn a 5. To repeat, contribution means making an argument, a clear position supported by reasons and examples. Academic discussion responses fail when there is no clear stance, weak support, or when the writer changes positions halfway through. In an earlier video, Should You Be a Fair Judge or a Dogged Lawyer?, I explained why you must think like a lawyer, not a judge. Your job is to defend one position consistently. In that video, I showed failed academic discussion essays caused by inconsistency. Make sure you watch it to avoid unexpected low scores. You do not deserve that. Today's essay is not completely inconsistent, but it is weak because it lacks a clear thesis. This essay was submitted anonymously on my website, so I will share it here and explain how to fix it. The professor's question is, which is more important, exercise or environment? All right, let's evaluate the student's response. The original essay contains several grammar mistakes, so let's fix them first. First, the phrase both A as well as B is not grammatical. It should be either both A and B or B as well as A. Next, we have a singular countable noun without a determiner, so we add A before healthy mind and sound mind to make the usage correct. We also adjust the sentence pattern with an object and an object complement. Instead of help to have, we say help you get, which follows the correct structure: help plus person plus verb. Then we fix the effect confusion by changing environment effects on to environmental factors effect. Finally, we make the expression according to his free time more natural by changing it to based on their schedule. Now that we've corrected all the grammar mistakes, let's look at the revised version together. In my opinion, both regular exercise and a good environment are essential for a healthy mind. I agree with Paul that regular exercise can reduce stress and improve mood. I would also add that exercise can help you get better sleep, which is connected to a sound mind. However, I also partially agree with Claire that environmental factors affect mental health. For example, if we have good people with positive energy around us and the place where we work is welcoming, we feel better even if the day is tiring. Although some environmental factors cannot be controlled, a person can have active control over regular exercise based on their schedule. Ultimately, it will help him to be healthy physically as well as mentally. This essay is organized as a balanced response that tries to agree with everyone, rather than as a clear argument. Opening, thesis. The writer begins by stating that both exercise and environment are essential for a healthy mind. This immediately signals a neutral, balanced position instead of a clear stance. Body paragraph 1. Agreement with Paul. The writer agrees with Paul and explains that exercise reduces stress, improves mood, and helps with better sleep. These points support the importance of exercise. Body paragraph 2. Agreement, partially, with Claire. The writer then partially agrees with Claire, explaining that a positive environment and supportive people also affect mental health. This shifts the focus away from the earlier support for exercise. Conclusion: shift in position. In the final sentence, the writer argues that exercise is more controllable and therefore more important. This creates a late and unclear thesis because the essay ends by favoring exercise, even though the introduction claimed both are equal. Overall, the essay lacks a consistent position. The thesis says both are essential, but the conclusion suggests exercise is more important. This inconsistency weakens the argument and lowers the score. For a strong academic discussion response, the writer should choose one main position from the beginning and support it consistently throughout the response. As Dr. Burns explained in earlier academic writing videos, there are two of the most effective methods for developing an argument. One is the full support method, and the other is the concession and refutation method. In the concession and refutation method, you first acknowledge your opponent's idea and then explain why it is still flawed or less convincing. Now, let's focus on method 1, full support. In this method, you choose one side and develop it fully with clear reasons and strong examples. You don't need to refer to other students' ideas in the question, but make sure that your reasoning is different from theirs. Your position agrees with Paul's, but Paul already uses the idea of endorphin production through exercise, which leads to temporary euphoria. To be more persuasive, you need to go beyond that. How can you do that? By emphasizing not just the short-term euphoria, but the lasting positive effects of exercise on the human mind and psyche. An anecdotal example often works well for this type of essay. Let's look at a sample essay that uses this approach as its main support. I strongly believe that regular exercise is one of the most powerful ways to improve mental health. As Paul mentions, scientific research shows that exercise changes brain chemistry by increasing endorphins, which helps reduce stress. However, from my own experience, exercise also reshapes how a person thinks and feels about themselves. In the past, I gave up easily whenever something felt difficult. I often told myself things like, "This is too hard," or "This isn't for me." Over time, these excuses made me feel like a quitter, and that feeling stayed with me. It lowered my confidence and affected my motivation in many areas of life. A few years ago, I decided to challenge myself by running 5 miles every day as a New Year's resolution. Many days I wanted to quit, but I kept going. Each time I finished a run, I felt proud and energized, as if I had already accomplished something important that day. After about 3 months, running became a habit. I stopped debating whether to do it and simply acted. Through this experience, my mindset completely changed. I no longer saw myself as someone who gives up, but as someone who follows through. Although my experience is personal, it convinces me that regular exercise is essential for strong mental health. This essay is easy to believe and connect with. Instead of using boring scientific explanations, it tells a story that supports the main idea. A good story is more powerful than a list of plain reasons because stories build connection and are easier to remember. Now, let's talk about another powerful technique called concession and refutation. This method allows you to recognize the opposing view, but without giving up your own argument. Here's how it works. You admit that the other side has a valid point, but then you explain why your position is still stronger. The difficult part is the refutation, giving a solid counter-argument. Sometimes you may need to admit a small flaw in your view, but overall you show that your argument makes more sense. Concession and refutation is more challenging to do well because you must not only support your own position, but also evaluate your opponent's and explain why theirs is weaker. For this reason, this method takes more skill and effort. However, when used correctly, it makes your essay more persuasive and demonstrates strong critical thinking. Here's an example that uses the concession and refutation method. I agree with Paul that regular exercise is the most essential factor for a healthy mind. In addition to Paul's argument that exercise improves mood directly through endorphin release, I maintain that it has another benefit. It promotes better sleep by regulating circadian rhythms, which supports mental clarity and focus. Studies show consistent exercisers report 20 to 30% less insomnia. This deeper rest also boosts emotional resilience, helping you handle daily stressors more effectively. Although Claire raises a valid point about environmental factors, like supportive colleagues or a welcoming workspace, these are often beyond our control and vary widely. In contrast, anyone can schedule 30 minutes of daily walking or yoga into their routine regardless of circumstances, making exercise a more reliable and proactive path to mental health. Do you see the concession and refutation here? The writer first concedes that the environment is important for mental health, but then refutes it by saying that it's beyond our control. This approach weakens the opponent's position while strengthening its own argument. So next time you write an academic discussion, try using one of the two methods we talked about, full support or concession and refutation. When you do this, your essay will sound more thoughtful, persuasive, and consistent, exactly the qualities TOEFL raters love to see. Want to write and speak better for the TOEFL? Don't waste time just reading random materials or practicing aimlessly. What you need is to study exemplary academic discussion essays and listen to model TOEFL speaking interviews, the same way Dr. Burns herself mastered academic communication. By reading well-written papers, she learned how top scholars build strong arguments. By listening carefully to professors' lectures, she discovered how clear, persuasive speaking works in real universities. You can do the same. When you read and listen to excellent examples, you naturally absorb the patterns of advanced writing and speaking that TOEFL raters look for. The best place to find these resources is inside Dr. Burns's TOEFL speaking and writing courses, complete with model responses, expert analysis, and powerful study hacks that train your skills the right way. Start your TOEFL success journey today. Visit www.nanheburns.com.